Relegations week 3 continue. Team Flex advance on to week 4. However, risky behavior versus problem solved. Well, this one's still going on, and it looks like we may be in for a long game
This
again.
has been an incredible set, right?
Fantastic.
Game 1 and 2. I just like, you could just see it in the players, right? How they positioned themselves, right? Risky behavior were very scared of problem solve, right? This team that I was told is a top 4 level SPL team, but it looked like they were playing ranked. And honestly, they could have won game 1. Risky behavior could have won game 1, but problem solved, figured stuff out in the late game, ended up winning. Game 2, once again, problem solved play like risky behavior is scared. And instead, risky behavior take it to them with their early aggressive game comp. They ended up winning. Game 3, finally, it seems like risky behavior have gotten over their nerves. Problem solved has realized that this is a team that they can't just sleep on. And just a much better game from both teams. And I think these last, or potentially these last 2 games are going to be really interesting. Risky behavior, though, may be able to close it out.
Picks and bans on your screen right now. Can problem solve bring this one back is the question. For me, problem solve need to either take Thor or ban away Thor, because I really feel the jungler has been a big problem.
I agree. Just take basically Varizial off his comfort pick. It's the god he's picked every single game
time. And he's
made big plays, right? And you can tell that his play style is never to protect his carries. It's always to dive the back line.
I am not shocked.
These are just like target bans, right? I love best of 5s because a mini meta starts to develop, right? So now problem solved recognized that the Thor and the Isis have been the problem, right? Take away risky behavior's comfort picks,
but the problem is,
ignore the meta.
But everything's available.
Everything's up. And that's fine, right?
Ravana,
if you only leave one important pickup, it's dangerous.
Chiron.
Problem solved.
All these are available.
I like to pick Khepri here. I would like to see a Chiron for risky behavior because
This should be Chiron Ravana. There's no reason not to.
I mean, I would, right?
Why would you not?
Especially considering Amaterasu really struggles early as well. I mean, problem solved should be able to pick up Neath, though, in response, I would like to imagine.
You want
because
Neath
Khepri Neath is very strong,
Why
right?
not Hoi? I mean, Khepri should be fine anyway. Like, Khepri can clear. Maybe you look towards the Hoi. They've gone with Chronos early on.
I mean, that could be the mid or Hunter role, but like I said, we haven't seen too much success. Obviously, risky behavior found a win, and it's going to be Hoi.
And problem solved going to be running the Chronos. More than likely on Hurriwind in the mid lane here. And then obviously Metyankey will be picking up the...
I really want to see problem solved come out with a higher pressure jungler than Kali, so they can get rolling early. Risky behavior. Wubbn going to go back to the Bacchus.
Wubbn's played 2 very good games on the Bacchus. Even though he lost one of them, he did very well on both those games.
Yeah, nothing.
Well, actually, did win both of them.
Yeah.
He won both. Yeah, good point.
Nothing too crazy from
his
him.
Bacchus has made a big impact. Maybe problem solved should have an answer for it this time around, though.
So I actually like what risky behavior is doing. I'm assuming the Ravana's going to be solo. Could be. We'll see. Especially after Marauder played. But they're actually banning away Hunbats. And the reason is that risky behavior are going to get the first pick in the second half of the drafting phase. So they're going to ban away 2 junglers they don't want to deal with and then pick up a jungler they do. Is what I'm assuming.
So Poseidon taken off the table, which is another focus ban here, looking towards mid laners, trying to limit Venenu's god pull. They took away Chronos. They've taken away Isis from him. They're like, no Poseidon, what else have you got? No new war either. They're really trying to hit Venenu in the mid lane here. A problem solved.
And it's going to be actually a knock. So no jungle pickup for risky behavior. They will have the counter pick after taking out Hunbats. They also took away Baskin's Osiris, which basically won problem solved game 2.
I'm surprised they went for Nox now, though. They could have last picked that potentially and then looked to get a strong jungler for helping to clear the way.
I'm assuming they want to counter it. That's my assumption, but it's actually going to be a Awilix.
Oh, Bacchus is in trouble.
I'm assuming that's more of taking it away from.
Oh, Bacchus is in trouble.
From risky behavior.
Poor Wubbn. Poor Wubbn.
Last pick coming in for problem solved. Going to be a soul laner. They're going to put Baskin on Bellona.
Bellona, nice safe pick up there. Jungle pick is left for risky behavior now to finally pick up for themselves. Where will we see the jungler go to? Thor taken off the table for him, and that's all we've seen out of his god pull so far. With Hombat's not available, Ao Kuang not available, he's going to go for Naja.
I have a problem with Naja.
What's your problem with Naja, Adanas?
Right. Well, first of all, I want the 33 win % right there. So, I love Naja. Naja can work out. And so can Nox. But the problem is, Nox and Naja are 2 gods where if you are not on point, right, you are going to lose. You are going to lose the game for your team.
However, if you are on point, you will snowball out of control with those 2 gods in mid lane.
Yes, but it's an incredibly risky play. It's risky enough to just run the Nox or Naja, because if your jungler doesn't get rolling early, right, if they start missing a couple of the abilities, they just lose, right? Very few players, I always see this. I always see Naja picked up in these critical games, right, when it's going to qualify you to the next stage or win you a tournament or whatever, right? The only person I've ever seen able to pull it off successfully is Dare to Care. He plays Naja in critical situations, not because it necessarily works out for the comfort, like, not because it works out in the comp, because it's comfortable. Players aren't used to playing against the Naja, and he could snowball like crazy. Everyone else feeds. Everyone else feeds with it.
Now, the big key about Nox here this game as well is Nox great with the silence. Big effect in this game. Going to be able to limit Chronos with the rewind because you can't rewind while silenced. Not going to be a possibility from as well as Awilix not going to be able to jump or do any damage if you get caught in that one. So the position of Venenu's Nox play is going to be very important. And if he doesn't get much damage off, because Nox isn't 100-0 god for the most part. He's a poke, sustain, control god more than anything else.
I mean, she could do a lot if she gets Doom Orb online, but a lot of that includes her putting herself into an awkward position while like chaining the
She's
root.
got power pot actually, I think. Just checking with Venenu for me on that Nox, because I believe he's got power pot because I don't see anything else here. He needs that just to help sustain early and put the pressure on, because we'll have Nijar to help wave clear, and with the Nox getting that, it will help out in this circumstance of the early game clear not being that effective.
This could go either way, right? These two early games, you know, problem solved versus risky behavior, the Naja Nox versus the Awilix Chronos, there's a lot of damage there.
You can see both teams coming mid lane at the same time here. You're going to see problem solve a little bit of advantage getting there ever so slightly earlier. But the return should be now there with the ring toss as well coming out. And Homiefe is going to be very, very well positioned early on.
Honestly, Nasha could look for a ring here, bounce it, and then go aggressive. And they could honestly combo and kill. But
this
it looks like risky behavior wants to play safe.
Whoever's been Order side has gone left harpies. Whoever's been Chaos side, always gone right harpies. They've been beginning. It just seems the jungle and mid laners of both teams have made this sort of agreement that, listen, we'll both farm, and then we'll take these harpies.
Baskin walks over, gets the first set of fire elementals, and that's what we've been seeing from Baskin. And problem solved as a whole, right? Just Baskin controlling this lane. Even when he gets behind early, somehow always manages to find leads on Marauder. But I don't think he's been on the gods that have been able to control and dominate the fight as well as he's able to, right? Outside of the Osiris, he's kind of been on his back foot at the start of every game.
You can see the good play from risky behavior, honestly. Wubbn and FaymousHate, respecting the fact that, you know, they're going to be in a bit of an awkward position there in the early game because of Bacchus, but root forced on to Hurriwind, going to force out the purification early on.
And that's one of the things too, right? We talked about Athena in Game 3. Just the ability to force purification on one ability is so important. That's exactly what you see from Nox. And Venenu so far seems to be on point with this Nox, right? If he's hitting these all the time, you could just win.
And Varizial on that Nijar, if you can keep someone held in position, it sets him up easily for the sash or the ultimate to follow up.
That's true as well, so we'll have to see if they can combine.
Not only that, you could also put the silence on the landing of the ultimate from Nijar.
So they can't immediately jump away or do anything.
You're stuck.
There's a ton of options with this duo lane. Or with this duo combo.
Yeah, trying to put some pressure on by jumping on Suku here, but there's not a whole lot.
He's just kind of like, I think he's trying to bait out the root, is my assumption.
I guess, but
Nox does need to be careful because Feather Step with Red Pot Awilix will actually half-life him. So that's the thing about these early combos is like, death is always just an inch away.
I would have actually minded if they keep this up and continue doing this here, risky behavior. Jigz should potentially look at maybe making a rotation to relieve some pressure here, just force it off. They're already winning that duo lane for now, but Chiron's about to come online anyway, so that's going to even things up there as well.
The problem is that the Khepri is the main reason that problem solved is able to put that pressure out on duo.
Yeah.
And now we see the rotations for the first set of boars. Oh no, they're baiting it. They're both level 5.
It's the bait for the rotation to left hand side, and that's relieved the pressure.
Hurriwind's not 5. He needs to be. He smells it out.
You actually see problem solved had pressure with Jigz and Metyankey over in that left hand side. So what they did was just hide in the jungle, release pressure on the duo lane as well, and forces a reset there, which is nice. And in the end, they don't lose anything for it, but they don't get any more experience from those harpies.
You can see problem solved playing a much safer game here. They understand the power of Nox early rotation though.
He's level 5
coming out from
Baskin
Naja.
Is level 6. I think he's going to go for the farm. Nope. Sash force, root follow up.
They're trying to bait his ult.
I think so, but I don't think baiting it is a good idea. I think we'll see a bit of an awkward position there. Heal force onto Varizial. And Eagle's Rally is down though. You're correct. They got the ultimate off. As you see.
Nox is in a bad spot. Does she have her dash available? She does. Homiefe jumps.
I have to say, Nox feels one of the safest gods once she gets herself online. Level 6, she's very, very strong at surviving.
Early game, it's a little bit rough for her, but you can see early Invade coming out for problem solved, looking for this red buff on spawn, and that's because they have this, the pressure in the dual lane.
And mid as well, and now Homiefe going to be here. Wubbn going to try contest, but Wubbn needs to be very careful about trying to go for this.
It looks like Wubbn wants to fight this. He's going to ult, and he was able to
looked for the Intoxicate, but he's not going to find. No, he wasn't able to secure it, I don't think. Oh, he was.
Homiefe is just kind of standing in front, but it looks like Khepri could be in a little bit of trouble.
A little bit of trouble for now, but left harpies gonna go the way of problem solved.
Right side gonna go to risky behavior.
Shockingly enough, that's kind of the
and this is like both teams respect each other now. Problem solved did not respect risky behavior in game 2.
This is game 4. The one thing we've not spoken about yet is how many of these players have really played best of 5s before that have gone these long and these close.
Baskin is the only player who has
Hurriwind?
played a best of 5. No, he played a best of 3 at regionals,
That's
and he got
closest.
2-0'd, I think. I'm pretty sure Chunks got 2-0'd.
Is that the closest that most of these players have come to playing best of 5s? And
yeah,
games
I mean,
like
that's the thing. Best of 5s don't happen
That's
often.
true.
Outside of big LAN tournaments and relegations, best of 5s really don't happen in Smite, and it's just this mini meta. And it took problem solved, you know, until Game 4 to recognize the power that Thor was bringing, and it just became ban Thor Isis, right? Instead of banning the meta. Instead, leave all the meta up.
Well, you saw Homiefe there and Jigz in support. Just checking the gold for you, because everybody was off the map for a minute of risky behavior. They're like, are they doing gold? Are they trying to fight? Nope, it's all fine. Hunters have returned to lane, though. We're both with Transcendence now online as well. A couple of potions for each of them to survive. You can see golden experience relatively even, as we've been saying consistently since we began Game 1.
And I think risky behavior kind of should look to aggress here, right? You talked about it a little bit earlier. The Naja and Nox, there's a lot of combos. It feels like risky behavior. They're going to have the superior 2v2, 3v3 fights heading into late game, especially in 5v5 scenarios. Once the Chronos, once the Hui come online, Awilix can be a monster as well, picking off Geb. It gets dangerous.
I'm pretty sure Baskin got hold of them there. He's going to trade out with Marauder. Marauder going to have give him a bit of a beatdown. I suppose Baskin realised he wasn't going to get that, but Baskin came out on top in the experience war. And once again, he's just farming consistently better every time.
He's just a more experienced player, it seems, than Marauder. Marauder is getting this Robin, but not able to dominate the lanes. Yeah, he's been a fine team fighter, and that's what you see from a lot of these players, that they know how to team fight, but the laning, especially against top-level players, it gets scary for them. There's just small instances. Homiefe going to take a little rotation.
But he just wasted his whole wave clear there, did Venenu. So you have to see Wubbn come in and try and support this, but he's going to come into the tower, lose a couple of gold, I think, on that one. Meanwhile, Neja rotates to the right side, looking for some potential poke on Baskin. Not going to find anything once again on that side, as Homiefe swinging around, looking for a rotation, trying to find someone out of position on that Awilix.
Right on top of a sentry ward, though, so not going to find anything there. Marauder going to take a trip back to base. His teleport's online. Homiefe going to hear the call, decide whether he wants to rotate or share the wave.
It's always sometimes the awkward thing in these games when you reset as the root force and purification. Sorry, root was out and purification force twice.
That's the second time.
But there's one thing that's always awkward is when you go into a 40-50 minute game and then you reset a few seconds later, go into the next game, and you're back to level 1. So you're not as tanky as you once were.
It gets
so you got to be careful.
Look at this, though. Homiefe, he's spotted out kind of purification instantly, and it looks like Scream's in a lot of trouble. He's going to die. Noxalt completely whiffs. And now Homiefe found his pick, and he's on full disengage.
Wubbn gets a good stun off onto Baskin, who's quite happy to still tank up. Hurriwind is now here in support as well, going to poke down. They're looking for the invade on blue to go alongside that first blood they picked up onto the Nerjar as well. It looks like they're still trying to fight this risky behavior. They can find a good flop, and there's a big silence on a root. Hurriwind deleted, and now Jigz is in a bit of trouble too. Has his ultimate available, going to pop it, but he doesn't land it on himself. And now Marauder going to give chase. A great knock-up from Homiefe to deny that. And you can see immediately Venenu retreats back to the tower, and Homiefe did a good job of getting Jigz away from danger of Marauder.
That silence so strong. Jigz not able to use that ultimate to make sure and keep Hurriwind alive. Hurriwind not able to pop his ultimate as well. It was just such a clean play, and now Baskin's overstayed. Varizial coming off his death, going to find Bellona, and FaymousHate finds the kill.
2-1 is the scoreline now. Early on, risky behavior taking the golden experience lead for him. Sorry, not taking the golden experience lead. I'm lying. Problem solved, have it, because of that first blood.
Just 500, and so far Baskin has been out farming Marauder successfully for the most part. You can see he picked up first blood. And
you mentioned the silence there. What happened was as soon as Wubbn landed that belly flop, easy silence underneath both of them. Jigz couldn't ult to save Hurriwind, and Hurriwind couldn't ult himself to save Hurriwind.
And for now, Hurriwind going to come back in the lane, get his red buff. He's got Doom over online, and this is always risky, right? You see two options coming out from players.
Doom over boots.
Doom or boots, right? And a lot of times, if you die early, you go into the boots, but it's very dangerous. You can see Artie back in lane, going to take a little bit of poke. Nice bit of damage reduction, but knocked up. And movement speed is so important in Smite because of juking, right? Because not only now do you have a faster base movement speed where you can outplay and maneuver around the opponent's abilities, but also if you're slower, it's easier for your opponents to hit their abilities.
That's true.
Especially Nox Naja, which are very skill reliant. Like, that's super important.
One thing to note as well that I didn't mention just yet, Wubbn has taken Purification this game on the Bacchus. It's just more than likely to deal with the Awilix. It's going to pull him every time if he tries to flop away.
I like that. And he picked it up early too. And the reason is because a lot of teams like to focus out the supports on the rotations early before they get their items online, because he has Winged Blade, which gives him movement speed and 300 health, but he has no protection, so he needs to be careful.
And attack speed. He's good on Bacchus, remember.
It's going to be...
He's good on Bacchus. God Fury looked at by risky behavior once again, but for now, quickly cleared out by Metyankey there on the ward. As Baskin is proxy farming over on this right side, trying to create a little bit of pressure there.
Homiefe going to counter ward here. And it looks like he wants to fight Homiefe continue. He's been the aggressor. Honestly, every single game, Homiefe has been looking to go. He's been looking to fight. He's been looking to dive the back on line. And he's trying to find Wubbn here. Misses the knockup. Was going to pull him over the wall. Guaranteed.
Well,
no one else is in position.
I mean,
maybe he could have baited the purification.
And the funny thing is will Wubbn actually use the purification straight away or flop away in those circumstances? I think he's going to save it for only when he's flopping and gets caught. And he'll probably just purification then. If he gets pulled in, he's going to be like, okay, cool, I'll just flop away again.
Rotations pinged out. You could see just the map lighting up with those red pings. Risky behavior, making sure that FaymousHate stays safe. We've seen kind of just the farm game from both sets of hunters, all games, except for the Caster Curse.
Can we check in with the wards placed as well? I feel so bad about the Caster Curse too. I'm so sorry. Wards placed between the two teams, all getting involved in this one. You can see it's a little like a Christmas tree. Pulling the mid lane, got to force the purification early.
You can see he didn't jump away either. Wanted to make sure he saved the jump, knowing that Awilix would have pulled him.
Yeah, and now that's the thing. Now Wubbn's going to play on the back foot for a little while. Make sure Homiefe will be well aware they're on cooldown now. So if they actually catch Wubbn trying to flop away or into an engagement, they could turn on him. But right side, once again, Baskin versus Marauder continues with the beatdown, and there is Wubbn getting pulled into an awkward position by Homiefe. But it's Homiefe the one that's going to pay the iron price. No! Over the wall, save from Jigz.
They do get the Khepri ult though. Teleport coming in from Marauder, and now Metyankey on full retreat. He's not slowed. Hurriwind is here, going to throw out a time stop, and risky behavior aren't going to be able to find anything. But Hurriwind, once again, gets caught in an awkward spot, forced purification, and he'll be able to escape it back into his tower.
And problem solvers find a very, very small win there because Baskin didn't use teleport at all for that. Marauder rotated in, didn't find anything out of it apart from writing harpies. So now Baskin has an opportunity here, if he so wishes, to make a rotation over to the duo lane or to the mid lane and put some pressure on when Marauder is going to have to manually walk over.
And you can see, right, he's got his breastplate online. He's starting up. He's got rank 2 of Bulwark, and rank 2 of Bulwark is actually very efficient. It's like 1,200 gold, a lot of health, a lot of magical protection. It's so much stronger than rank 1, and it's honestly worth just getting if you need magical protection. You don't even have to upgrade it to Bulwark. The Silver Talisman is just so efficient for its gold cost.
Very efficient indeed. Golfury still stands 11.5 minutes in. It's generally the first Golfury of the game that, from what we've seen so far in all these 3 games, is Golfury just goes to one team. The other team doesn't really get there until it's too late and it's already been done.
And that's like both teams respect that they are in a position where if they try and contest Gold Fury, they're likely to give up a kill, and if a couple players die, they lose Gold Fury, then they're open to towers, right? That's kind of the snowball effect, and sometimes it's okay to give up Gold Furies and Fire Giants depending on your position in the game.
Now you actually saw Jigz and Homiefe there on the left-hand side and the left-hand harpies just stand still. What they were hoping for to see if there was a rotation from mid lane through that channel and see if they could pick somebody rotating over towards duo lane. Unfortunately, they didn't find it, and Hurriwind comes back and clears up that ward that was just placed by
Metyankey. Doesn't recognize that Naja is waiting around the corner, but there's no one else other than Naja here.
Sneaky.
Oh, he's going to wait for FaymousHate to come back in the lane. He has no idea about this. This is such a smart play. Stun coming out, and he's going to get sent to the sky. Not yet, but...
Oh, the rotation. No, it's a counterbait. Metyankey spotted that, because look at the rotation from the team now. They're already moving from mid. Homiefe going to go for the knock-up. Actually catch FaymousHate, who purifications the ultimate coming out, but Homiefe going to collapse a little bit more. Force the ultimate from FaymousHate. Here's a rotation now from Venenu on the knocks. Can he get in range is the question. Going to throw the ultimate onto Hurriwind. Hurriwind's going to have to rewind. But that's going to put him in a dangerous spot.
He's right in the middle of the tower. Naja takes one up to the sky. Jigz comes down, and Hurriwind actually is able to turn it around on FaymousHate. And now it's problem solved, fight to win. Metyankey drops the Suns. Risky behavior disengages, but we thought Hurriwind was in the bad spot. It was actually FaymousHate in the bad spot.
FaymousHate ends up falling down, but they're baiting around the corner. Wubbn's going to be the first one to roll around. Hurriwind going to meet him. Nope, not going to find it.
They're all grouped?
Wubbn, fine. Walked away, juked out the abilities, went, okay, guys, there's people here. I'm fine.
Neither team. I'm a little bit surprised that Baskin didn't teleport, considering they knew Marauder's teleport was down as well, but does continue to force Marauder into an awkward spot. He's going to have to take a trip back to the base here shortly.
2-2 on the scoreline, experiencing gold. About 1,000 gold lead for risky behavior right now. 2,000 forward experience though for problem solved. Oh, actually, right, yeah, and 2,000 forward experience as well. Once again, I feel it's
I don't know, man. Like it's like these games are so even. The past 3, it's just been back and forth. These teams are evenly matched right now, and a lot of it just comes down to decision making.
Well, the funny thing about the experience here, Jigz has soaked up a lot more than Wubbn has so far. You can see Wubbn just hit level 11 right now, and already Jigz was level 12. He's getting pulled back in force purification again, and now the re-gestion onto Homiefe. The double tap, the ult from Jigz was great, and he abducts away to create as much distance as he can.
Jigz has been on point this set. The Geb play, the Khepri play, it's been near flawless. FaymousHate, not able to sneak that away. Metyankey jumps back to make sure to clear his wave. But, I mean, Jigz has just been on point this set. Ionic claimed that he is one of the most mechanically skilled supports in the game, and he's proving it here.
And he's had a great series so far. His Geb play early on was fantastic. Great shields, good cataclysms and knockups. Really had a big influence for his team, as has Wubbn, to give credit to him too. His Bacchus play has been on form so far, and he's got himself in a good spot. Him and his team Risky Behavior.
The supports have been the most consistent players in this set, in my opinion.
And the one thing we've always spoken about to the pro players is, what do you do when you're down? Like, because problem solved, they're one game away from losing. You've got to take each game as it comes, is what the pros say. You ignore the fact you've got to win 2 in a row. Cloud9, one of the most famous teams for coming from behind or like coming down to the wire, they've done very, very well to get themselves in spots like that.
Yeah, C9, all their best of 5 sets outside of their Epsilon 1. Actually, they've all gone to 5th. Every single time Cloud9 gets a game 5 or is a best of 5, they all go to all 5 games.
Okay.
Except for Epsilon. They didn't beat Epsilon. They lost Epsilon.
Did they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You know, the team that won Worlds?
Oh, where are they from?
Not North America.
Oh. Shame. 2-2. Still waiting as Homiefe on the left-hand side. There's a ward in lane there. You can see that. So FaymousHate has to watch his positioning here. He has an idea Homiefe's around here, just probably by the positioning, more than likely where Metyankey was stood on the minion wave more than anything else.
Homiefe's doing a lot of splitting, honestly, over in this dual lane. We've seen him do this a couple times, and it's basically, all right, Met gets a little bit of pressure, and I get to split a wave, and now Gold Fury going to be started up, and Sun's actually used at the start.
They caught Bacchus back in. They caught Bacchus on the back and immediately go in and collapse. Beautiful play by Problem Solved, realizing they had the man advantage. Executed to perfection.
And now they're going to increase their gold lead. It has been spent.
Sash.
Jigz in a little bit of trouble. Same with FaymousHate. He's going to be forced to purification.
And Jigz gets away for now. Hurriwind trying to return some damage. Marauder not going to find anything but the root. And the annihilation of Jigz is here. Gets the ult on himself. It is going to force it eventually. No, it's not. He's on low health. Marauder holding everything. Looking for the root. Going to find it. Sniped by Venenu on Nox. But now teleportation comes in from Homiefe and Baskin in support. Sorry. And now they're going to look to pick up Marauder. But there's the bulwark.
He's cursed under tower. And it's going to be Hurriwind to find him. And now over the top, Eagles rally. Baskin intoxicated out by Wubbn as Risky Behavior try and reset this fight. They trade out 1 for 1.
Wubbn did very well there with the Intoxicate to force everybody else back, make them drunk, so he was very difficult to land the abilities, especially on attack focused gods like Metyankey.
This isn't as bad as the Osiris game because Marauder's on Robin, but Baskin right now, we're starting to see him rotate to these fights a little bit more, and he's just so effective.
No ultimate available. Venenu giving chase on Nox as well. Can dash in and close the
risky.
gap. Silence cuts off an option. Root confirms an option cut off, and Najar takes him up in the sky. FaymousHate is over here too as Homiefe trying to pick up Venenu here, who needs support. Gets some from Wubbn. Gonna force purification. Suku is online. They're still chasing in. Fantastic sash by Varizial.
Venenu on that Sanctuary recognizes that Homie's about to use Feather Step. And honestly, even though Venenu is at about half-life, more than likely would have died in that engagement to Homie. Perfect timing of Sanctuary. He's full health. Now Homie's in an awkward spot, and the team is able to pick him up.
1-for-1 trade in terms of towers, however, as you did see Metyankey picked up the one on the left-hand lane as Risky Behavior grouped up for the one in right, but the Golden Experience Leader still Problem Solved's favor. They get the Gold Fury, they lose a kill there, but they're still keeping things going in their lead.
Risky Behavior, though, showing that they're not scared to fight. They're playing as a team now. This is SPL level play. This is what we were missing the first 2 games, but these past 2, these teams and these players have been just phenomenal. They've been on point. Coming to the 18-minute mark, though, I mean, problem solved. They're going to try and continue to sneak stuff. As this game gets later, their comp gets better, honestly.
It does Hurriwind, and Metyankey get it combined just to pick up this red buff for the time. There's not much else on the map for them to really farm at the moment. Metyankey going to return to the left-hand side. Hurriwind returns to base to continue working on Chronos Pendant, which he now finishes. Chronos Pendant for Chronos.
Chronos Pendant for Chronos. I think he's like required to pick that up, right? It's like in the rules.
It's by law.
It's by law.
It's by law. It's
law.
Named after your god, you have to pick it up.
Just a disservice. Homiefe going to get stunned out. Nice root, though. And it just seems like these players are doing a really good job of trying to bait out relics, right? We talked about it a little bit the first 2 games, but these past 2, like, it's just been so effective, honestly.
Sash missing once again, though, from Oh, pulled in. No, he's not. Purification goes off as well. Stun onto Jigz. Rewind forced by Hurriwind then. Now the Intoxicate's going to cause him some issues. Marauder going in deep for him, but Baskin has now turned up to the fight.
He's here. He's got Eagles Rally. There's a bludgeon. It's not canceled, but off the mark. Shell going to be popped as well. Khepri going to pick off Marauder there, and now Baskin just zoning out 4 members. Eagles Rally, Suns over the top, and now Risky Behavior. Pop Sprint. They're just trying to get out. They don't have a tier 1 tower, though.
Jigz on the front foot, trying to lead the charge. Find an abduct if he can. Nobody available for him. So immediately problem solved. Retreat, there's nothing else in, and now it's Venenu going in, trying to get somebody. Metyankey leaps away. Nobody dies.
These teams, these past two, like the reset has been perfect, right? The other team uses all their ability, chases in, but now they're all on cooldown. Yours have been reset and they can re-aggress. You saw that just there from Risky Behavior. Problem Solved now recognize that they can't fight and they're forced to back off.
And the funny thing is, Risky Behavior's team here is they've got Marauder with Ravana, they've got Neja, and they've got Bacchus, all to engage and be frontline. Meanwhile, problem solved, they want to wait a little bit for Baskin to turn up these fights to join Homiefe. That's their real frontline. Because Jigz, he's really there for the peel. He's there to protect the carries more than anything else.
And Homiefe, once again, going into this hard carry style build, picks up chin size on his on his Awilix as well. The problem is, it seems every time he's in the middle of the fight, he's dying, right? This is very effective early game, right? When you're picking off and you're trying to find these smaller engagements. But once it comes down to team fight, he's going to have a lot of trouble getting into this fight, especially with Ravana and Bacchus. Like, how do you do anything against that?
Well, what we're saying he's going to have an issue with as well is the fact that both the solo laners now are now working on those Frostbound hammers. Baskin's is complete. You can see Marauders is on the way, going to slow them down consistently in the fights as well as provide that attack speed reduction, which will hurt Hurriwind and Metyankey more than it will Venenu and FaymousHate as well. But FaymousHate going to be taking more of the brunt of that.
And now Gold Fury going to be spawning here shortly. It looks like problem solved. Want to get ward control for now, but 3 sentry wards on Risky Behavior. They're going to counter it, and the ward war of Gold Fury begins. It
begins, and Jigz just keeps an eye that did not try to start that one up. Problem solved have done a very good job of realizing that at least this game, that first Gold Fury was very well executed by them. They're calling on communication about rotations from the team very effectively at the moment, and Risky Business got caught off guard. So keep an eye on them this time to make sure they control it a little bit better and don't get themselves caught again. You can see Wubbn well aware they're going to rotate in, but he may get looked at as right hand side Venenu forced away with a dash. They just caught someone back in then. They saw Neja back, and you can see the call. Neja caught back in by Jigz, and immediately problem solved, tried to rush this down.
But they don't know if they want to do it. They're trying to bait the fight. You could see that. Baskin, he forces Marauder back. Both soul laners teleport are up. Wubbn in a bad spot. Actually, it's being turned around on Jigz now.
And now the turnaround is Wubbn's trying to run for his life. Going to get away, but now Marauder is here, putting the pressure on. Baskin in base at the moment as Marauder jumps in deep. Going to force a purification on Hurriwind. And now the support is here. Baskin is here. Snipe Jigz with the great ult to defend himself. And now Homiefe trying to pick up Venenu, and the jungle boy's not going to find it.
Masterful shot, going to solo a lot of players, but look at this. Baskin, he's doing his own zoning job. Marauder on one hit. It's going to be Eagles Rally. And now Scream in an awkward spot, but able to find Baskin to the sky. The question is problem solved going to be able to lock him down when he comes back?
With damage to pick up Venenu.
Wubbn's back.
Now the dash away. The situation to avoid the damage, but Wubbn's here. Floppy's a little bit too late. Metyankey picks up Venenu, and Jigz gives him some extra protections, and now problem solved can turn their attention to the Gold Fury.
If Venenu was able to survive for just half a second longer and Wubbn found the bounce into the Intoxicate, that fight could have gone completely opposite. And now Metyankey going to try and find a bounce, but look at this. Marauder's back in, blanketed by Homie. He's looking for FaymousHate, but FaymousHate's like, I'm going to fight you. What are you doing? Dashing forward. Masterful shot not available, but Homie able to successfully jump away.
And problem solved. Didn't do the Gold Fury there, which was very wise. Reason being, they had to be scared of Wubbn's burst on Intoxicate of Bacchus. They had to make sure he wasn't available to get in the fight, but by doing that, it allowed Marauder to get back. Gold Fury stands at 23 minutes in.
Baskin not going to allow FaymousHate and Wubbn to back for free. They'll be able to get back to their tier 2 tower though. But by then, problem solved will already be in control of the Gold Fury. You can see 4,600 gold lead for problem solved. But I mean, this is, it's just back and forth both games.
It is, but problem solved have an actual lead at this stage this time around. A decent lead that we've not seen for a couple of games by either team.
Important thing to notice right now is the mid laners. Hurriwind is 4 items deep, including a Doom Orb that's max stacked compared to Venenu, who's level 16 and only 3 items on.
And the magical damage is not very high on Nox right now. Not without that Doom Orb. You can see how much it'll do to Jigz there. Not a lot. There's a
look at Hurriwind.
Magical damage, but here we go. Baskin on the front side gets a big ultimate off into FaymousHate. Sorry, big bludgeon off, and it's Metyankey's ultimate that gets the kill for that one. 1-0 is the fight so far, as he's still focusing, looking for more.
Marauder just trying to zone out the carries of problem solved. Intoxicate on 4, and now Baskin. Wubbn's very low. Eagles rally in play, looking for the damage. Wubbn's going to try and escape. Najah takes one to the sky. Bludgeon misses, and Wubbn is just keeping Baskin busy. In the meantime, Risky Behavior is cleaning up in the back line. No, not enough. And it looks like problem solved. They're going to win this one.
Gets a double kill, and for that, they'll get the goal here as well. Marauder did what he could. Sorry, Wubbn did what he could to keep Baskin as busy as possible. And there's not a whole lot Venenu can really do against that team to try and secure that goal fury.
Matt's trying a cheeky play. Look at him. He knows Venenu's in the mid lane. He's sneaking around. Venenu, no relics available. Looking for the stun. Actually going to find the knock-up. There it is. Metyankey on a rampage. 3 kills and a deicide for problem solved.
A delayed triple kill for him, as well as the goal fury. Problem solved are actually in control of this game finally. 10-5. They're going to return to base, spend up that gold, and look towards their 5th items now.
And Baskin, he's honestly been the key for me, right? 2-1-4. More importantly, though, is just how much more effective he's been at zoning out Risky Behavior's carries. And once again, this Najah and Nox, right, they're so heavily reliant on kind of their 2v2, 3v3, like getting ahead in early game. And now that it's in the late game, they just aren't as effective. Nox and honestly, I think there's been a lot of ults on top of Baskin.
I mean, Baskin's been doing a good job on the front line, but Metyankey has been doing a lot on the backside. Look at his damage there at the moment. He's ahead of the Ravana from the solo lane as well. 5-0 and 2, picked up 3 kills in that fight. Build is pretty much online now with the Titan's Bane now finished. The extra penetration is going to start chunking through people. FaymousHate, he's 2 levels down on him. Doesn't have the Titan's Bane finished just yet.
And now you see the ward control starting to... This is the first, I think, one of the few real leads we've seen from a team, right?
Yeah.
7,000.
And this is the first time I've really seen Risky Behavior be out of position here, because there's 2 mid, there's 2 right, and meanwhile Problem Solve's like, well, let's just pressure left because we've got minions here. But they've not got a whole group in yet. They just force out some teleports, pretty much. They got Ravana to teleport all the way over, and they might be able to find a pick in the jungle.
Look at this, Venenu going to be poked out for now.
It doesn't do any damage.
He's just tickling. And now Wubbn gonna juke the stun, but it looks like they want to turn this 4-man knock-up, and Marauder over the top as well. Nox fires the ult, but the Suns are gonna disengage the team fight and split everyone up.
And Marauder's being chased down like a dog right now, being beaten to a pulp by Hurriwind. Bicycle kick keeps him alive for a second. And now he's gonna get deleted eventually by Metyankey, and the reset comes out as well.
You can just see the solo laners. This is the difference from them. All 4 members grouped up. Metyankey gonna find 3 members, finds a double tap. It's a double kill for him as well. Wubbn on 1 life. He has beads, and now FaymousHate, he's being chased down. Come back though, Jigz says.
Trying to save each other, and
it's gonna be 3 dead.
Yankee feeling himself. Ricochet does not connect just off the mark, and immediately Problem solved, retreat to potentially look at the Fire Giant straight away here.
I mean, that was such a perfect initiation by Wubbn, but that's just a fight that they shouldn't have taken. It's just, they were so far behind, and I say it, right? You just look at the solo laners, and this has been every single game, right? One solo laner successfully zones out 3 players without taking any damage. The other one gets blown up. That's what I've seen all Season 3, and right now, Marauder, he goes to the back line. After the damage reduction fades, he gets blown up. Meanwhile, Baskin's still at full life.
Honestly, one of the biggest things I can see in this game that I really have trouble with is the Nox pick. Reason being is because it's the only magical damage they really have on the team, and he's had to go into defense here. He's gone for Breastplate of Valor to try and be defensive, as we actually see the ult being forced out of Najah defensively, and Wubbn is going to be a casualty of war now, I think. Intoxicates them all, but he's still going to fall down once again, and now going to be a 4v5 for a little bit longer, with the Fire Giant still available.
Problem solved right now, leading with about 8k gold. Doesn't look like they want to force Fire Giant yet. They recognize, I think, that they're winning all these fights. There's no need to do anything that could potentially throw the game.
I mean, I love Nox. I think Nox as a god is fantastic and very, very useful in competitive play for CC and control. But you need some other magical damage to really help. A Bacchus isn't really enough, is what I'm trying to say. You need it in the solo lane, and solo lane right now, it's difficult to play mages.
But that's the thing, right? Najah and Nox are the same for me. Like, these gods have a place of competitive. You can build a team around them. But to run both, when they're very dependent on your player showing up, right? Thor and Isis, their abilities are, you know, half a lane wide, right? And even if you get behind, you could still be effective. Not on Najah and Nox, though.
Blink in from Homiefe, going to knock up and pull in Najah. Varizial away as well as the Feather Step from Homiefe. So all good there, ult down on Varizial, so he's not going to be able to use that. Fire Giant has been started by the looks of it, by Problem Solved. And Risky Behavior taking away their blue buff and going going to rotate around and find that out, and now we'll see a fight for the Fire Giant. 2-1 is the scoreline in terms of games. Risky Behavior need one more to secure, but it's problem solved in control.
Marauder on half-life, and now Chiron firing shots through the team fight, and it's Baskin actually super low getting chased out. Jigz, though, going to put Marauder back into the team. He's knocked up. 4-man Intoxicated, and Wubbn, he's just trying to get out. Baskin chasing into the back line.
Gets a big ultimate off, and he's also ulted defensively by Jigz to make sure he can stay there. Gets another kill for himself. Wubbn falls down. The Fire Giant still stands. Metyankey thinking about leaping in, changes his mind. And the boys at Problem Solved will take the 2 kills and head back towards the Fire Giant.
That is a lead. That's Problem Solved's lead right there. The fight was so close, but it looks like Risky Behavior.
Only Varizial. Only Varizial is going to face check. Hurriwind's going to be waiting. Misses the stun. And now Homiefe has to come over to help control as well. But meanwhile, Varizial realizes he cannot get involved anymore. Fire Giant is going to go away with Problem Solved. And it's looking like we're going to head towards a 2-2 scoreline here. I
mean, I don't know, man. We've seen these teams throw before, although to be fair, it was Risky Behavior in game 1. And right now, Problem Solved, they're up 16-6 in kills. They're up about 10,000 gold. They have Fire Giant in tow. Now's the time for them to make the push.
That's a monstrous lead.
I think, yeah, it's 10K, but more importantly is that there's all 3 tier 2 towers are up, right?
I mean, the experience for me when I look at level 20s on Problem Solved compared to level 20s on Risky Behavior.
It's just so rough.
It is a rough situation for them.
Oh, Najah could get caught out. I don't think Baskin will be there in time.
And this is the first time I've really...
Oh, he got scared. He actually had enough time to back. Forced to ult away.
Eagles Rally, is it available? It is, but I don't think Baskin really wants
He's not close enough.
Will he use it, though? I mean, Wubbn's around the corner, so I don't think it's really worthwhile continuing to chase. Got Fire Giant. Homiefe is closing in as well. I think they're going to look to group up this left-hand side, Problem Solved, take down this tier 2 tower. I've already cleaned out all the towers. We've seen this time and time again.
It's a safe play. Gold, look, there is about 6,000 gold on the map right now for Problem Solved. 3 tier 2 towers, a Gold Fury. They don't have to risk anything. There's literally no risk, and they can extend their gold lead by 6,000 gold. There's no point. Why would you make the risk? Just put yourself in a better power position.
Well, the team's going to do Gold Furies. Hurriwind just pushes in mid lane, gets themselves in a position ready to head towards that tier 2 time mid if that's what they so choose. Hurriwind's going to swing around, put a little bit of poke damage onto that as well. Gold Fury falls, and Problem Solved head towards that mid lane.
Oh, look at this. 3 members of Risky Behavior in a bad spot. Sprints, pop, there's Homiefe. And it's going to be Venenu.
Going to have to charge it. Oh my god, Hurriwind exploded him, and Baskin's now in the back line, forcing 3 members away. Tier 2 tower in the mid lane falls down, and with that kill onto Venenu and realizing right-hand side they saw FaymousHate, they're going to try and pressure mid.
This is free because Risky Behavior weren't in a good spot, but Wubbn jumps in, finds 2, Suns are raining down, splitting off the team fight. Baskin, he's low, but so is Wubbn. Big crit coming out on Marauder, does manage to get back to the fountain, however. And that risks the middle Phoenix.
The rage on Metyankey just made a big impact there. But the snipes are good coming out there from FaymousHate. Not enough to find the kill, however, onto Metyankey, who will limp away. The Phoenix stands. Adanas, the Phoenix stands.
And that's what it is, right? It's just that risk versus reward. They could have cleanly taken the tier 2 on right, instead try to go for the Phoenix because they got a pick. They saw Najah on the right-hand side. Not successful, but they still do have a significant amount of gold in hand, just spending it and finishing off their builds.
Now we actually see the rage picked up by Metyankey. How do you feel about this? On the rage, because a lot of people have been talking about rage not being as useful right now, crit not in the great position, but he's gone for a bit of a flare pick with this.
So, right, the crit build is still good against squishies, and that's his thing right now. Is he just wants to kill the squishies? More importantly, right? There's 3 players that essentially have no defense that he can just shred.
So we're looking at Venenu, Varizial, and the Amnesia as well, and FaymousHate as the main 3.
And I mean, if he finds an RNG crit, that's really strong.
It's not RNG, it's calculated. Calculated. Paul's coming out by Marauder here for the time being. Crazy game backwards and forwards. 2-1.
Crazy set.
It's been fantastic.
Probably going to all 5 games.
The whole day. I mean, the Team Flex versus Neil M was really good overall. Honestly, we expected Team Flex to do well in that game, but Neil M put up a pretty good show as well.
Yeah, and like the 2 sets yesterday, all 3-0s, or excuse me, both 3-0s. Leftovers. And Torpedo, and I mean this one's going the distance.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't have high hopes for Risky Behavior after all the talk about Problem Solved. The talk about Problem Solved being such a strong team. That
and I could see why they were touted as so in these past 2 games.
I mean, yeah, but Risky Behavior, I've not really heard too
They're
much
out of
about.
nowhere.
Well, to be fair, the Challenger Cup, they dominated it until Neil M turned up in the final hurdle and beat them in the finals of the Challenger Cup. However, Risky Behavior had a consistent performance all season long and look fantastic right now, even with 2 replacements to this roster that did the
They lost Xenotronics recently.
Xenotronics to Denial, and they also lost Skeleton as well in the jungle.
And Skeleton's very good.
They've made some great adjustments to this roster and found themselves 2-1 up against Problem Solved, but in Game 4, they've really got a big issue now with the Fire Giant coming up in the next minute. They have to try and defend it and find some sort of win. They've held on long enough before. Can they do it again?
I like what Problem Solved did there. They played the safe game. They recognized that their Fire Giant's going to be fading soon. No need to try and force a Phoenix. Spin the gold we just got from the last Tier 2 tower after we also cleared the map. Now we all have about an item plus level lead. And they could force the issue at this next Fire Giant.
I'll just keep an eye on the Fire Giant when it actually does come up as well and see which team ends up going for that as well. What's that item on Homiefe?
That's Tier 2 of Stone Cutting Sword.
Oh, is it? Okay. I thought the Stone Cutting Sword's green.
It's the Tier 2, man. 1000-fold blade. And the first
Why is
rank,
it red and goes green?
Whatever, man. The first rank is a
Why would it not go green and then red? Like red
I'm just really happy that rank 1 is Katana. I kind of just like want to buy it sometimes.
What's rank 1? Yellow? Is it like a traffic light?
That'd be pretty funny.
I mean, that makes more. I don't understand why it's red.
That's like the magical to defense, right? Genji's Garb and stuff.
Why would it go from red to green?
Anyways.
Adanas, why would it go from red to green?
Anyways, Genji's Garb is green, and then Oni's Hunter's Garb is red, and then the Tier 2 is purple.
It's unplayable. Unplayable, this game.
Man?
Unplayable.
You can change colors. I don't.
We're in an awkward position now because you can see the Risky Behavior trying to stall out, and meanwhile, Problem Solved, they're waiting for the Fire Giant to spawn again before they look for the final
Risky
siege
Behavior going to give this up
for the Phoenixes. And yep, they are. You can see Venenu on the left-hand side, not in a position to contest this on the knock, so happy to give it up. And I guess they're looking for a fight at the Phoenixes and try and hold on.
And I like what Risky Behavior did as well is they warded pretty heavily in their own jungle, and they allowed the players that needed farm to start split pushing, which forces all the minions back, which means it's harder for Problem Solved to dive without waves. In addition, all these players who were behind in levels have now hit level 20 outside of the Nox.
Well, swinging between mid and right, the two teams. Hurriwind is currently mid, now going to swing around as well, putting some pressure onto Marauder. Once again on the front line, trying to chip down at those front carries for the most part. You can see actually Ninja in the mid lane just going to hold the wave there and try and rotate that afterwards. And Baskin and Jigz trying to pick up Marauder with the abduct, but they don't find it. But the crit finds the hit onto Marauder, forcing his ultimate away. Wubbn with the belch, trying to stun them out, but they don't care. Ninja now comes around the back, misses the ultimate. Think more because of the purification piece by Hurriwind. And now they're looking for the Phoenix, and they find it. Sash onto Homiefe, who turns the damage back around with the feather step. Wubbn gets a good belch up, but he takes a lot of poke pressure. Hurriwind finds credit for the kill. One member finally falls.
But every single ultimate basically expended for Risky Behavior. Only FaymousHate has the shots left. Jigz trying to pluck a person out of position. Actually,
Jigz
it's himself out of position. He is able to get the Khepri ult on himself and a strong disengage, but 2 Phoenixes fall. Risky Behavior, they're on their back heel.
Jigz scurries away, but Baskin and Metyankey turn their attention to the last Phoenix. Alone for now, though, Homiefe is swinging round, and realizing that, they're going to back away for a moment, let the Fire Giant regen them. That ring toss did some damage. Root comes out from Marauder, but Venenu deleted
Didn't even
by
matter
Hurriwind.
the second he hit the ground, he was dead. Beads is the ult, but still eliminated. Homie picks up FaymousHate. All 3 Phoenixes down.
We're
Only
going
2
to a
members
game
left
5.
to defend. It's
5
over.
games between Problem Solved and Risky Behavior. I would not have expected it to go this well. And now it's down to just a best of 1.
I mean,
a best of 1.
The game, the players, the games, they've gotten better every single instance. And Problem Solved, that was the cleanest game we've seen from them. Every single player.
I want to say the focus from Problem Solved and the picks and bans really hurt Risky Behavior because of the game.
I think the first 3 games, Problem Solved got outdrafted. I really do.
They hit Nox. Sorry, they hit the god pull of Venenu in the mid lane.
Took him out.
Took him out. He played Nox.
They banned away 3 mages and the
junglers. And they took junglers too. And
the Nasha just did not have anywhere close to the same impact that the Thor did.
Well, as I look at First Blood at the beginning of the game, once again, remind it all the way back of this game 4. And it was a crazy fight over there. And Baskin actually gets credit for that kill with the bludgeon. It's a little bit fast-paced, that one. But yep, there's the belch.
And Baskin, once again, just winning the solo lane. Just so much more effective than Marauder. Even when Marauder got near full build at the end, it's just he couldn't do the same things that Baskin was able to do to zone out these carries, to basically just carry his team. I'm not sure how the damage ended, but I know he was at the top for most of it.
Let's have a look at some of the clips from that game as well of how these two players. Generally, Metyankey, who honestly I thought had a fantastic game.
Yeah, Metyankey has been playing so well. Even last game, right? The Chronos, he's just been on
Did you see what he did there, though? Like, he was fighting the guy in the back and ignoring Marauder, punching him in the face. He was like, shut up, Marauder, get out of my face. I'm not interested in you. I want that backline. Come here.
To carry. And look at him, just positioning himself so well, not diving too deep.
Ricochet.
Recognizes the Najah's in the corner, focuses him when he sends his team up into the sky. And I think he has a stun here when she lands.
No, leaps in first of all and then turns it around. Finds it. Didn't even actually use a Ricochet there. I guess it wasn't available. Finds a quick double. And then he ends up chasing down Venenu as the team does Goal Fury off this play as well, which is quite a funny one. He does a Goal Fury and then goes back to it as well. But good play from Problem Solved overall. Looked a lot more consistent that game. Corrected some of the issues they had in Game 2 and Game 3. But now Risky Behavior have a chance to get back into this still. They're not out of it. Neither team is.
No, I mean, these games are so close, and I think the Nox Najah kind of hurt them because it didn't seem like their players were able to combine for the early 2v2 and 3v3 fights that they wanted.
And we mentioned a couple of times during this, in best of fives, you generally get a little bit of an internal meta coming out. We mentioned that in Game 4, Game 3 as well. But in Game 4, you saw it really take impact in the God pool they hit. With hitting the mid laner and the jungler, it limited Risky Behavior's opportunities this time round.
One game left, though. We're going to find out here after a short break, guys. It's Game 5 of Relegations.